Former world champion Marlon Tapales returns to action on December 11, December 12 po dito sa Pilipinas against Japan's Hiroaki Teshigawara. The bout will be one of the undercard fights of the Nonito Donaire versus Raymart Caballo showdown. It is set to take place at the Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. Let's take note that this fight will be a WBA Super Bantamweight title eliminator. The winner will move on to face Murodjat Akhmadaliev. Brian, Teshigawara is no slouch. He has held the OPBF Super Bantamweight title for a long time. He is on a 10-fight win streak with 9 of them coming by way of knockout. And during that stretch, he defeated Filipino fighters such as Jetro Pabustan, Jason Canoy, and Glenn Sumingit. Ryan, do you like Tapales' chances in this fight due to his experience? Or are you a bit worried about what the Japanese boxer could bring to the table?
I mean, this is not unlike the sort of challenge that Tapales had in his the last time he fought in a title eliminator against a Japanese fighter. Teshigawara is, an all-out Japanese banger who will put pressure. He will make Tapales fight, and Tapales has to be in shape. I didn't like his conditioning for the last time. I thought he broke down a little bit mentally when he fought in Brooklyn. I was actually there, and he was stopped. He just didn't have that. He didn't look ready to fight for a world championship. And when you're fighting in an eliminator, it's basically a championship fight, because you will get a shot at the title if you win that fight. And Ryosuke Iwasa basically just broke him down. And that's sort of the thing he has to avoid here. I think that perhaps him fighting on the West Coast might be interesting for him because he will be, he'll have a lot of great sparring out there in LA where he's often trained. And I want to see how he does here because he's got a tremendous amount of ability. He's a southpaw. He's a puncher. He can box. He has a lot of ability, and I think that some of the questions about him have been regarding his dedication. Right? He missed weight for a championship fight. That's how he lost his belt. It's sort of. It was very disappointing to see how things had gone because he has all the ability to be a memorable champion of consequence. He just has to put those things together. And I still think he has a short window in which to do so.
Ryan, what are the things that Tapales should look out for and try to exploit in the ring against Teshigawara?
The big thing I think is, he's facing another taller fighter, right? So when you're facing a taller fighter who's a pressure fighter, that pressure is different. It's not like you're getting pressured by a shorter guy and you can kind of get out of range and, keep him off of you with some, just by stepping back. Wow. He has to make sure that he's all the way out of range or all the way in range. So if he's going to exit, he's got to, he can't go straight back like he did, in the Iwasa fight in which where he was getting caught coming out. He's got to turn around him. And I think just being in shape, working the body, not being directly in front of him, that's going to be a big issue there, making sure he's not directly in front of him. One of the things that I think will be a morale booster is that in the main event is a fighter whom he's spent a lot of time in the gym with, Raymart Caballo. So I assume that they'll train together also leading up to this fight, and that, or they have been. And so there should be some comfort there. It's not like when he fought in New York and he was, he was all out here by himself without like a lot of the moral support that he would have wanted to have, in a big overseas fight.
Ryan, Marlon Tapales was once a world champion. You mentioned this a while ago. His reign as champion didn't even last for a year, losing the title on the scales when he fought Yoshihin Omori. He tried to get back into the title picture, but he fell short in 2019. as he lost to Ryusuke Iwasawa for the interim IBF Super Bantamweight title. If he loses on December 11, do you think it will be difficult for him to get back into a position where he can vie for the title again?
Yeah, he'll be an opponent. He'll be a gatekeeper at that point. This is the kind of guy, this is Teshigawara is a good fighter. He's got power. He's never been stopped before. But these are the kinds of guys that Tapales has to beat in order to be considered a world-class fighter. If he can't beat this kind of guy, what are we doing here?
Mm. Ryan, let's say he gets past Teshigawara on December 11. Is the Japanese a good acid test to prepare Marlon Tapales for a world title fight against a brilliant boxer like Morodion Akhmadaliev?
No. There's no preparing for MJ except for fighting MJ. He's a next level kind of talent. He's I think he has pound for pound potential. The only reason he hasn't been considered that is because he hasn't gotten that kind of exposure yet. He's a unified champion at 122 pounds. He has the WBA and the IBF belts. I know that you can't really do triangle theories, but as sort of a measuring stick for where he is in his career, Ryusuke Iwasa, who had stopped Tapales, was stopped in 5 rounds by Akhmadaliev. So, he's a very serious fighter, and I think that Tapales would have to do something special, in this fight in order for me to really take his chances of pulling off an upset in a championship fight seriously. Or Akhmadaliev could vacate a belt. Who knows?
Ryan, if Marlon Tapales gets the title shot, what do you see as the best qualities of Marlon Tapales that could pose a problem for Akhmadaliev?
Maybe his power. That could be a thing. I think he, even though he doesn't have like a tremendous knockout rate, he's a good puncher. He does some things that are good. I mean, he's got heart. That's when he fought against. He fought for the championship in Thailand. I remember it looked like he was done. He was dropped twice, and he was down on body shots. And I just remember thinking, this fight's over. And then the next round, Panya Utok was on the floor instead, and then and he finished him off in the 11th round. He has heart. I thought he could have been losing the rematch against Shohei Omori, and even though he was up by a point, you never know in Japan, right? He looked very sluggish. He had no energy because he had struggled to make weight. Yeah. And then he scored an 11th round knockout. It's unsustainable to sort of fight your way out of bad preparation, but he's been able to do that before. So I think that's one of his things to watch out for. He doesn't quit. He will be there until he can't be there anymore. He took a beating against Iwasa, and it's sort of hard to see what he would do against Akhmadaliev at this point, but it wouldn't be for any lack of trying.